Welcome to another episode of Okie Dokie Tech. This week we're going to be installing a Raspberry Pi 5, the 16 gigabyte variant, into an Argon One V5 case along with the NVMe carrier board. So let's go ahead and start opening these boxes and get going. So let's go ahead and take the Raspberry Pi out of its box. It doesn't want to come out of the box. I think it liked it in there. On this side we have a gigabit Ethernet, two USB 3 ports, two USB 2 ports. On this side, the only real noticeable thing is the GPIO pins. And here we have a power button, the PCI Express connector, which is a tiny little thing. And we have a USB-C power port. We have two micro HDMI ports, and we have a camera and a display port that use the little ribbon cables. Also, over here where you plug in your fan, you need to take this little piece of plastic out before you can plug it in. Now we're going to go ahead and open the Argon One V5 case for the Raspberry Pi 5. It's a little hard to get out of the box, but I can beat a cardboard box. And within the box is a bag. And within the bag is the beautiful V5 case. The bottom is made out of plastic, but does have a metal heatsink that goes up under the NVMe drive. And this part is cast aluminum, nice and sturdy. This right here is the power board that will connect to the Raspberry Pi, and it has two full-size HDMI slots, which is very nice, and it also adds two USB 2 ports and an audio port to the front of the Raspberry Pi, which is very nice. Within this is sandwiched a bag of screws. The top is connected with very strong magnets, a little hard to get off. But I can beat a magnet just like I can beat a cardboard box. This is the area where the GPIO pins will poke through, and also we see here the cable for the fan, and of course it has a 30mm fan over here and heat pipes and cutouts for various cables and other things. This side not much to see other than the places where you attach thermal pads, I guess, and the magnetic top. The magnets are very strong. And we notice that it has this little area right here with two screws attaching it. You can remove that to install the LCD screen. I've ordered the screen, but it hasn't come in yet. Now we'll see what's in this little bag. It looks like a cover for the micro SD slot, feet for the bottom, thermal pads, and another bag of screws. Let's go ahead and cut that open. Now we have the NVMe board, which is shipped separately. Much easier to open that box. And it comes with instructions. The board itself on one side has your PCI Express connector and a connector for the power cable, and on this side the M.2 slot for connecting your NVMe drive, and it comes with the power cable, but we have to route it through a little channel in the case ourselves. It didn't come shipped that way. Also in the package with the NVMe board was a red spudger and a package with some more goodies. We have screws, we have 2 flat cables for the PCI Express, we have a thermal pad for the NVMe, and we have something very nice, a spare PCI Express retention clip. They break easily, so that's nice. Now it's time to assemble the board. First I put these thermal pads on the 4 chips indicated. Now we connect the power board from the Argon One V5 case, and you might have to plug it in and out a few times to get a real good connection. Another thing that we need to do is to route this cable. It's the power cable for the NVMe board, and we just stick it in this side, pull it through, and push it through this hole. And make sure you leave enough slack on both ends for the cable to be able to reach their connectors. Now you need to push it down in the little channel. The channel is shallow and doesn't have a lot of give, so you need to get it pretty snug down there so that when you put the board on top of it, it doesn't hold the board up. Now let's put the board on top. And it feels nice and snug. And there are places to put 4 screws, here, 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 and here. And that's what we're going to do next. I've gone ahead and put in the screws. I don't think you wanted to see me do that, did you? But now what we need to do is go ahead and plug in the other end of the cable that's going to go to the NVMe board. Just stick it right in like that. And we're going to need this to be on the opposite side. We're going to connect our NVMe board like that, and we are going to kind of push the cable back through a little bit to make room to push this in so it sits flat. And push that back. Let's go ahead and put in the little NVMe retention thing there. Then we can slide the NVMe drive in its place with the thermal pad already attached. We can make sure it stays down with this Then we can go ahead and put the bottom on. The 4 long screws are going to go in these corners. I'll go ahead and tighten them down off camera. The case comes with this little cover for the micro SD card slot, and I'm not going to use that. Instead, I'm going to flip it over, and we're going to go ahead and install the PCI Express cable. You slide it in with the gold things facing toward the white side of the clip. Just slide it into the little places. You might have to pull up the clips and push them back down because they sometimes want to go down with the clips. Looks to me like it's in place. And so there, that's done. Now let's flip it around so I can see it a little bit better. Hopefully you can see it as well. I want to get these little cables visually out of the way and not blocking, although I don't plan on putting a Zigbee in. Anyway, the cables look better that way. And we need to go ahead and put our fan cable in place. I've also got a RTC battery to go in here, so let's go ahead and stick that down in the hole. Use the tweezers again, because it is constrained space in here. Now I'll take the backing off of the adhesive, and we'll go ahead and stick this battery down where it's kind of out of our way. That looks nice. All we have left to do is to put the lid on. It's magnetic and stays on by itself. You can add 2 screws. In addition to that, we're going to install Raspberry Pi OS and the scripts that make the extra things on the V5 work. One of the things I like about the Raspberry Pis is the internet installation. I've got a keyboard plugged in, and I'm going to hit Shift, and that will pull up the installation for the internet installer over Ethernet. It is downloading the installer. I'll fast forward through parts of this. And here we are at the familiar Raspberry Pi installer screen. I'm going to choose a device. This is a Raspberry Pi 5. Choose an operating system. I want the 64-bit version of Bookworm. And my language is English and keyboard is US. That's good. Choose storage. And this is my 1 terabyte Crucial NVMe drive. Next. Nah, not gonna fool with that. All existing data is going to be erased. Yeah, I know. And I'll fast forward through this as well. It's rebooting. It took about 1 minute for it to load up. And here we are back to the Raspberry Pi desktop welcome screen. That took not very long at all. I think right now it's expanding the file system to fill the 1 terabyte disk. Rebooting again, and here we are on the welcome screen setting things up. So I'll set things up and I'll be back in a minute. The Raspberry Pi operating system is installed now, and I've updated it and I've made some changes. I have increased font size and increased the size of the mouse to make it easier for you to see in this video. One of the first things that we are instructed to do is to go to this command here. I'm going to copy that and put it in a terminal to be able to edit our config text. And we are supposed to add a line down at the bottom or near the bottom. Well, it's already there. This dtoverlay is already there on the default install. So I'm going to hit Control X to exit. We don't have to do that. The next thing we're told to do is to copy this command to install some more software. And I'm quite sure that that's not already there. And paste it in, enter. This is going to install the software that allows me to use the new front USB audio jack and things like that. It looks like it puts in something for the OLED even though I don't have it yet. So when I get it, it should work without me doing any software work. That's nice. That should let me use these new ports. Let me do sudo reboot. Here we are back again at the desktop, and I'm going to plug in a USB drive and see if it's detected into the front ports. It is detected immediately. It sees that it's a Kingston drive. Open it. Okay, yep, it's got a bunch of stuff in there. So that is working. It puts me a nice convenient thing here for ejecting USB drives. It's ejected. And I've unplugged it, and we have this Argon configuration tool that lets us make changes. So I'll study this and decide what changes I want to make, if any. Let's go ahead and check out audio recording and playback through the audio jack that's provided on this case. We're going to open Audacity. I have a headset with microphone and headphones plugged in. We're going to go ahead into audio. The host is ALSA. The playback device is going to be that. My headphones, the recording device, the USB. So let's get us a recording. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. As you can see, we have a nice strong audio stream. First of all, I'm going to play it back and see if I can hear it over the headphones. I do hear it loud and clear. Now I want to unplug the headphones and export this file. Export as MP3, and I've already got one in here. How about Untitled 2? Save. And so now let's close out Audacity, and we don't need to save the project, and go into our music folder and play Untitled 2. Testing, 1, 2, 3. And that is nice and loud. I don't know if you can hear it with my microphone because it's not very close to the monitor, but it is nice and loud. One final thing you may want to know about is how cool does this case keep the Raspberry Pi. So we're going to start up P-Sensor, and we can see that it has been idling at about 35 degrees on the CPU and 38 degrees on the RP1 chip, and the NVMe drive a nice cool 28 degrees. But let's go ahead and run something to heat it up a little bit. We're going to run stress NG. Okay, I pegged the processor for 2 minutes, and we can look at P-Sensor here. Let's grab it and see that the maximum temperature that we reached on the CPU was 48 degrees, and on the RP1 chip 42 degrees, and the NVMe drive stayed right about the same temperature, well, 1 degree higher. So this case does a very good job of keeping the Raspberry Pi cool. Another thing that I ordered was the OLED, and according to tracking, it's supposed to get here by March 10th, so it's not going to be included in this, but I am looking forward to that. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please like and subscribe. If you have any comments, just let me know down below. Otherwise, I will be seeing you in about a week.